Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to DatSmokeShow. Actually, I have the wrong background set. Hold on. I really screwed up. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
man. Welcome to DatSmokeShow.
You want to give everybody the warning there, Wes?
Yeah, man. You need to be 21 or older to be in here. Yeah, man. And you need to have some ganja. It's the most important. Yeah, man.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. We have DatSmokeShow. This is a show that Wes and I kind of put together. Some weeks, one of us might not be here, and that's okay. But yeah, it's fun. It's kind of like hanging out at the weed bar, talking with different interesting topics. We have some other guests coming a little bit later that we've talked to earlier. So definitely come check us out regularly. We have quite a few different cool people that are going to be on the show regularly and part of our community. So I really appreciate you taking the time. We had a great episode last week. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, please do. We have some awesome co-hosts today. Actually, hosts. We're all hosts. There is no main host on this show. We have Captain 420. How's it going?
Doing great, Potent. Wes, hope everybody's having a good day out there. And remember, live chat, not top chat, people.
Nice.
Look where the fun's at.
And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Alrighty. Actually, I guess a quick news announcement. I'm headed to Thailand end of September here. I don't have my flight date yet, but I'll be working with Breeder Steve over there in Thailand and Phetchabun and up in the hills. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super stoked to grow in a whole other part of the world. I think I'll just have Australia left as the last continent that I haven't grown on yet personally. So if I can just find somebody in Australia, I can do everything but Antarctica. So that's everywhere where you can realistically grow weed. I'm kind of stoked on that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. It's gonna be sweet. I wish I could say I've grown that many places, but I definitely can't.
I'm definitely looking forward to working for someone I've looked up to for so long and kind of the pioneer of aquaponic cannabis. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Are you able to say who?
Oh yeah, Breeder Steve. Working with Breeder Steve. Yeah, he hand chose me as his first pick for the head grower down there. So
That's
I
awesome.
couldn't be more honored and happy to take that job. So we just had to work out some of the details. I'm trying to figure out if I wanted to leave the U.S. again because last time I left the U.S., a plague broke out. So
it was all your fault.
Oh, entirely.
Get to get some of that fishy weed finally.
Oh yeah.
You can't say that you can't travel with it inside Thailand because you can board a plane with it now.
Oh, can you? What's the limit in Thailand? Because I know Canada is 150 grams.
Don't be a dick. There ain't no limit right now.
Yeah,
There's
don't fill your suitcase.
There's no presumption of intent to distribute until you hit 10 kilos here in Thailand, so 22 pounds.
That's potent. That's 150 with a medical license. It's 30. It's only 30 grams on your person if you're just recreational.
That's good to know.
So don't forget that and by accident and mess that up. And no.
Was it California? I think is 2 ounces if memory serves me correctly on a plane. One? Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely it's so weird in the US because some places it's a problem, some places it isn't. If you fly from one place to another, I know we talked about that last week. The genius basketball player thought it'd be a great idea to go from Dallas to LA with weed because that makes any amount of sense,
That was solid. That's solid. It's a real thinker.
Well, I fly from Ohio.
Obviously, doesn't have fun.
My weed.
Allegedly.
Nah, I straight out did it. I'm medical. I don't care. I don't fly to Thailand with my weed though. That's just stupid.
We had some other funny articles this week that we'll get to a little later in the show. I kind of have fun doing some of the research for some of the stuff. There's definitely been some pretty interesting articles for this week to talk about. But I think one of the more interesting ones was the first white paper came out as far as cannabis reducing incidence of ICU for people with the virus that shall not be named because it'll flag us on YouTube even worse than we already are. So I thought that was really cool. And actually, that was in Forbes magazine. It wasn't in some rando, bizarre thing. It was in, the general news. So that was super cool to see cannabis represented in a positive light in regards to wider health concerns.
Yeah, man. About time.
On the opposite end, did you guys see what the DOJ caused a big stink about this week?
Missed that one. What happened?
Let me pull the article up here. So the Federal Department of Justice ruled that the Department of Justice says that medical cannabis users are a threat and dangerous to have gun permits, which is complete bullshit.
I'd say completely the opposite.
Exactly.
It'd be too high and too lazy to get up off the couch and go pick up his gun, you mean?
Well, no one's going to get high and have a fit of rage and then go on a shooting spree.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
Kind of does happen. You're right.
If anything, if they're angry and they smoke weed, they're going to not do that, right? Like pull them back from the edge.
Yeah,
this was completely insane. They're trying to make this connection that people can be denied firearms permits based on medical cannabis use. And that's just simply bullshit. You should never have to choose between medicine and that. And arguably, I would say that it's far more dangerous for someone to be on opioids. Opioids increases aggression. There's many drugs. Ambien. If you're on Ambien, you should not be allowed to own a gun. Period. People do crazy shit on that stuff. I know people that have gone driving with no memory of it on Ambien. You can't, tell me that's, you could end up harming someone with a gun and not even be aware of it. It's completely crazy. That this is be allowed. But of course, you got DeSantis, who's super anti-cannabis, railing against it down there. But, this is completely insane. And why are your medical choices determining your gun rights? The Second Amendment says I have the right to bear arms, period. It doesn't have a fucking clause about weed in it. And in fact, they were smoking weed back then. Let's just be clear. When they wrote the Constitution, they were smoking weed. The Constitution is written on weed, on cannabis sativa. A lot of people don't know that.
We like to gloss over that fact. It's less important.
Yeah, literally, the Declaration of Independence is written on hemp paper. Right? Come on.
And all the copies are too.
Yep. So for them to say this about gun rights is just completely bonkers. And all statistics show that people that own guns and are medical patients have a far lower incidence of firearm violence and firearm incidents, be it accidents or otherwise. So you can, if you want to do this for alcohol or opioids or something else, even though, I'm literally drinking a beer right now, I wouldn't go get my gun. Same thing with this. When we were talking about this before the show about snakes and stuff, I used to keep venomous snakes and breed them. If I wasn't stone sober, that tank lid stayed on. It didn't matter. Unless it was an absolute emergency and the animal was going to die or something like that, you don't it's like a weapon, right? You can't open that without bad consequences if you're not in a state of mind that you can deal with that shit, right? But
100%.
Even in cannabis, someone could be smoking cannabis. It's not going to make them act out in a way that's aggressive or in a way that's going to harm them. So it's completely insane that they ordered this. And another, the Democrats are not a friend of cannabis. They controlled the House, the Senate, and the president, and they still can't get legalization
passed. Either
passed.
side's a friend of cannabis. I mean, the only thing that in the end that causes them to take our side, exactly, Captain 420, the money, the bread. That's what moves. That's the only thing that moves them. As soon as there's lobbyists there pushing for something, that shit gets done like lickety split. But without that's kind of our problem is we don't lobby together.
Yeah, and the other thing too is if you're a medical patient, why should you have to lie on a state or federal form about a gun purchase? You know, why? Or say, hey, if you were on cannabis and stopped taking it legally, you have to declare that you've taken cannabis, even though you no longer use it. You know, say you just hurt your back and you needed it for getting over surgery, and you're just using it because a lot of people, a lot of cannabis users in the United States just kind of use it when they need it. They're not like a daily driver like a lot of people watching the show. In fact, I know multiple people that are friends of my father in Pennsylvania that are in their 60s or 70s that hit me up occasionally for different recipes for butters and stuff that, you know, they may take it after they're injured or something, but they're not, they treat it the way that you would painkillers or muscle relaxers or other things that you would take kind of on an as needed basis, not as a regular regimen. So, and I honest to God think that's probably what you're going to end up seeing when legalization finally happens in the US. That's probably going to be the most dominant form of consumption, is those people taking it kind of to replace some of these more harsh chemicals that have a lot more issues on your liver and kidneys and other things. So this is really a big setback and does not set a good precedence. And, you know, certainly if we have a Republican government come in, I don't think they're going to, you know, do much to change that kind of attitude either.
That's why I moved.
Well, I'll tell you what, it sure will be nice to watch the country burn from another country again. I watched the Trump get elected from Jamaica, and this is going to be fun watching, you know, the next shit show from Thailand.
Yeah, it's going to be a circus again by the looks of it.
Oh, yeah. This was pretty good from Australia. Mystery pink glow in the sky over Australian town revealed to be from local cannabis facility. Apparently that all these people near Victoria freaked the fuck out for a couple days. It was pretty good.
God,
it's just funny to see.
Put some hoods on those or something. I don't know.
Right? Like, see, you know, this is why states like California require light depth. You know, you could have your lights on at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's not going to do that. So, but what's interesting is you're seeing some of those light depth laws hitting lettuce growers. So we have aquaponics facilities in California that are being told that because they have lights on at night that they have to have light depth. And it's like, well, a lettuce guy can't afford to light depth his place. Like, are you crazy? Like, so it is kind of funny to see kind of some of the cannabis laws punishing, you know, general ag, which is something that I didn't, you know, don't think would ever happen anytime soon. What's new with you there, Wes, in your garden and your stuff?
Let's see, what's new in my garden? Just fighting the fight. So it's got spider mites, but the persimmons seem to be working away pretty good on them. They seem to be declining in numbers. They don't seem to be spreading anywhere, so it seems all right for now. Just keep holding them off with beneficials for the time being. Over in the veg room, everything's all clear there, and just bringing up clones, making clones, and popping a few seeds. Yeah, just everything just going along nicely as usual. How about you? What's new in your garden? You got anything going on?
Right now, I'm just kind of packing, getting ready to go. We don't have any plants running at the moment because I don't have time to do them. So.
Finish them. Yeah.
Just getting ready to go up to we have mycelium at the festival next weekend. We put that up here on the screen. So we got mycelia at the festival. If you guys want to come hang out with me in Wilkinson, Washington, we'll be hanging out with Chris Trump, Matt Powers, a whole bunch of awesome mushroom and cannabis people and permaculturalists. Yeah, just a huge long range of long list and wide ranging group of people in terms of speakers and educators on permaculture, mushrooms. They have like a whole bunch of different workshops. It's going to be really neat. So super looking forward to that and spending some time in the forest with some mushrooms and the forest, really, to be honest with you. So definitely come hang out if you want to hang out with me and a bunch of other amazing people. It certainly is going to be a great time. Definitely looking forward to it. What about you, Captain 420? What have you been up to?
Well, we're just kind of sitting here like everybody else watching the grass grow. We get back from Cambodia in 2 weeks. We're going to go take a little vacation. I haven't relaxed for a while, even though some people may say, well, dude, all you're doing is watching fucking grass grow, but, just to get away and, to be able, after this long period of being able to come back to Thailand, and last month they finally opened up the borders. So now I can continue my traveling, but when we get back, it's balls to the wall. It's back to work for me for the next 2 to 3 years at least. And right now I'm in talks with a gentleman about buying into his farm. Because it's much easier to buy into somebody that has a business here than opening up one yourself. I think I've made a pretty good offer, which will benefit him greatly. It'll give him a continuous supply of fresh drinking water and water for the plants, because not all water is created equal like soil. So you can have good soil, but a bad water table. And that's what we've got here. But the soil's good enough, and we'll do what we have to do to clean that water up, hopefully. And then the next move is to start putting out clones after about the first of the year here in Thailand.
What insects have you dealt with? I've heard red spider mites are quite prevalent out there.
Yeah, the spider mites are all over. And, I've got a big bag of sulfur all ready for them. Because I think that's the way I'm going to have to combat a lot of things here. And a lot of people say, well, you can use, IMOs, and you can use this and you can use that. But, you just said it right there, spider mites are really bad out here. So you got to be on top of your game, and you got to be on top of it every day.
I wonder, are there local strains that just do better against the spider mites, or like?
That I can't tell you, because this is going to be the first year that I'm going to actually be able to see different farms.
Nice. Yeah.
Because before then, basically 3 months ago, people weren't really talking about it. And then 2.5 months ago, more people started talking on Instagram and Facebook, and then they changed the laws. And now, it's kind of funny, because everybody that think they're going to come to Thailand and make money, if you're not here doing it right now, the game's already over. Because I come back to Thailand, and it's like walking off the plane in the United States in a wreck and medical state. There's cannabis everywhere in Thailand. You go down to the little market, and you've got little old ladies selling starters from seed, 50 baht, $1.50 for a plant.
Yeah, but none of the genetics have good pedigrees from the street vendors. Well, what was crazy to me learning about what's going on over there is that the government the military actually provides a huge percentage of the country's output, which is very controlled in certain areas. So I hear.
I've been giving out seeds. It's from a strain called Golden Buddha, and I have yet to have it tested or anything. But we are going to have it tested, because I did hand out a whole bunch of seeds of it. And it does come from the military, but the medical part of the military. And they use this strain. It's high in THCV, from what I'm told. So they use it for cancer and other things like that. So yeah, I can agree with, that could be a possibility that, a large chunk is controlled by the military, because the military is our government. We're still under a coup from 2014.
That's when they kind of took power over from the royal family, correct?
Correct. And this happens quite often.
It seems that I was in Peru and for a while, and they every so often just decide that they need a little bit of a change and kind of change things up a bit. So what was kind of interesting to me, and I was kind of curious if they had that there, is every Sunday in Peru, wherever your local town square is, they have like a little military parade where the guys, that are all enlisted come and show off their different things and stuff. I was kind of curious if Asia was like that.
It ain't around here. They don't show off military power like that.
It wasn't necessarily in an aggressive way. It was more like a parade kind of thing. You know what I mean? More of like they had vendors and stuff. It was more of, not necessarily in a negative way. It was like, hey, here's the people that keep everything going. Anyways, I guess different kind of way than I've seen maybe the Middle East or Africa, where it's a little more imposing.
Well, we used to up in northern India and Pakistan along the borders there, where they, every evening they show their military.
What was interesting, I was also reading up on because I was trying to wrap my head around biocontrols over there. There's actually 2 new species of Ambacillus that were discovered in Thailand. One is kind of more around all of Asia, which is the Ambacillus bralices. And the other one is Ambacillus marimunis, or I'm sorry, Marunumanus. Anyways, I'm sure I'm horribly botching that, but it was kind of interesting to see that there are a few regular. Ambacillus is kind of the primary genus for most of the products that you purchase as predator mites in the United States. Ambacillus cucumaris, Ambacillus californicus. So they are a large, well-known genus for eating spider mites. So it's kind of interesting to see that, they do have native species if you could figure it out or work with an insectarium. Are there insectaries over there in Thailand, or is it still kind of new technology-wise when it comes to insectaries?
For me being able to find these, they're new. I really wasn't looking at it because myself, I'm not gonna fight spider mites with predator mites. I did that back in the 90s, and when you can keep up the rest of your IP game, you don't really need that. But everything here is emerging, or at least for me. I don't know if it's maybe because, okay, well, now this is reality and we can start to grow. So I'm actually starting to look for products like this and ways to combat. So maybe I'm more focused on that now. But before, I wasn't hearing about the farmers using beneficial insects, and I wasn't hearing about the large flower growers here either. But maybe I just wasn't tuned in or connected to the right people. People, if you didn't talk about cannabis before I left a year ago.
Oh yeah, and a lot of places even that have legal I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm done.
A lot of places that have legal cannabis, it's still not really taboo to talk about it in public, so.
And I think that's what's really exciting for me, is because everybody in Thailand is talking about it, and it is a big buzz. And you do see people that have never tried cannabis before, and they're not going. That's one thing that's different here in Thailand, because of the way the government went with the medical and pushing the CBD side. You actually see more people wanting to smoke CBD plants here in Thailand, and a 1-to-1 ratio instead of just wanting to get high. They're actually more curious, and they want to try it to be able to go to sleep at night. It's not because they're not tired from work, but they're all stressed out because It's really difficult here in Thailand, especially with COVID hitting, and basically 1/3 of the population was out of work. And it affected other parts of the employment. So, they're just starting to come out of it. They're given cannabis, and they can smoke a little bit of cannabis. They can get the relief from the CBDs, a little bit of THC, and it makes their lives a little bit more enjoyable. And I'm seeing the people up here embrace it. And, they're wanting to learn. And that's what we have to do, is educate them now. Now that they have a product that they can try that is straight CBD or 1-to-1 THC CBDs, they can now experience the difference, and we can help guide them. Because it's really going to be the Westerners that are guiding Thailand. Because as you know, Thailand doesn't have any naturally growing CBD plants.
No, it's the wrong latitude. All the CBD stuff comes from high latitude stuff. And this is a big thing that was really brutally hard for me to explain to the people in Zimbabwe, is CBG and CBD does not grow well there. The angle of the sun is completely wrong. You cannot grow high CBD only below European threshold, which is 0.02, not 0.03, which is the American one. You can't grow that at equatorial latitudes. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, I don't care. Maybe if you did some kind of GMO thing and knocked out the THC synthase, but I have no interest in growing that shit. If you want to grow CBD, grow in Argentina, grow in Patagonia, grow in Chile, grow in Canada, grow in Russia, grow in Northern Europe. That's where you can grow CBD outdoors at acreage that's not going to test hot. But the other thing you have, and this just has to do with equatorial zones often being having two other things. One, a lot of equatorial areas are lower income, and because of which they've had a lot of NGO input that has just dumped ungodly amounts of fertilizer in the soil where we're trying to grow a lot of these cannabis farms. And we ran into this in Zimbabwe, and one of the biggest triggers, and why this also further impacts people trying to grow CBD, is a lot of these were growing high essential oil value crops, be it flowers or tobacco or some other thing like that. And what do they use for that essential oil production to boost it? Manganese. Now, if you have super high manganese levels, that's going to increase THC expression in cannabis. Simply by having that increased manganese value. We had this problem in Canada and Zimbabwe, where the tobacco fields are all at like 400 parts per million manganese, and there's nothing I can do about that. And yes, it's not fully chelated, but still it's super above where you'd want to have it if you were trying to grow CBD only. THC, it's great. It's perfect for THC cultivars, no problem. But CBD, it's just a huge issue. So, because of the warmer temperatures and the higher oxidation rates and everything else, you tend to have more bioavailable manganese at equatorial latitudes than you do at higher latitudes, which is one of the things that helps increase THC over CBD expression and the genetics. So, simply by, climatology and geology combined.
So everything is against it.
Yeah, the other thing you have is the angle of the sun is much more red tilted at the equator, which increases THC, versus blue tilted at the like where you are in Canada. So that also increases THC over CBD expression. And there's quite a bit of work documented. And Brendan from Spectrum King has spoken on that previously on our show, as well as some of the other experts that we've had on have talked about some of the differences in light effects and plant expression. So definitely something that I don't think, especially these equatorial countries, really take into account. You can totally get 1-to-1s. And in fact, if they're really high, really like 1-to-1s, I have some amazing 1-to-1 genetics that are like 14-14, 12-12, 14-16 kind of stuff. That does really well in higher humidity environments. But, those don't have a huge market in the US,
Bring them.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the paper planes will find their way.
I'll give you my address. How's that? You can ship them right to me.
Oh, I have a whole army of elves that drop them by airlift.
The airlift, we got fine elves. Whole air force of them.
Yeah, little known fact, all of Santa's elves, huge stoners.
They're huge, well, obviously.
Well,
you have to stay task oriented up there in the workshop. You have to just focus in on what you're doing. Just obviously you're high.
He only smokes that craft high. They only smoke that craft grown.
That's right.
If anyone has any questions in chat for any of the guests, feel free to ask them. I actually do have a whole bunch of notes for the show that we can kind of go through. We have a bunch of states that are about to legalize or have ballot initiatives in the last week as well. So Alabama approved the first 12 facilities, and they're going to be increasing that to 16. Hold on, let me read it so I don't get these numbers wrong. Oh, hold on. It's paywalled. I'm going to fix it here. Hold on.
That's pretty sweet. I didn't think that I'd be seeing the day that Alabama.
Right?
Alabama, Georgia is a shocker for me too.
Oh yeah. And actually I'll be out in Georgia here later in the month. So if anyone's going to be in northeastern Georgia, hit me up. We'll get together while I'm out there. I'll be out there for a week or so. Wisconsin officially has its legalization ballot initiative, got enough signatures to make it on the ballot. So Wisconsin will be up for rec this fall, as will Missouri. And Oklahoma actually also achieved the number of signatures to get that on. Actually, they edited the wording on the legalization ballot. So, and that would just have a flat 15% statewide excise tax for the point of retail and nothing on cultivation. It's actually a huge step in the right direction towards, more sane regulations. Yes, 15% is still too high, but you know what? If they remove a lot of the other red tape, then and gets rid of metric, thing. The other thing I think is interesting, and I don't think many people are talking about. So a lot of different states really fucking hate metric, right? I think we all know. Anyone that works in the industry. Let me pull up the website here, and we'll explain.
Anybody been slanging knows how to work metric.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, many states require this insane software called Metric, which is this website right here. They have a track and trace software that is, if you're in Oklahoma, you legally have to use it. It's a state enforced monopoly. It violates a whole slew of antitrust laws, among other things. But there's people in Oklahoma right now that are sitting on $30 million or more of product that can't get tags from Metric to properly sell it. Now, it's completely compliant as far as COAs go. It's passed inspection. It's all weighed properly. There's no goddamn reason why people shouldn't be allowed to sell that shit. So there's a huge class action lawsuit on behalf of most of the producers of Oklahoma against Metric and the state of Oklahoma for preventing them from basically making money. And then they have a really good shot at beating the living shit out of them in court because of the way that this has all gone down. So I do think you're going to kind of see a repeal of some of the more draconian shit going on in Oklahoma and maybe a little bit more push back to the Wild West days that we had, 6 or 8 months ago. So if you're in Oklahoma, the days of easy restrictions are there. We will also at some point soon have the writer of 788. I was actually on a Zoom call with him yesterday, the guy that actually wrote Oklahoma's bill, and he's also the guy that co-authored Oklahoma's psilocybin bills. So we will have him on the show here in the next, either this show or my show in the next few weeks. So that'll be really cool. But that was very surprising to kind of see going on in Oklahoma because you don't see a lot of, those types of things going on, especially against Metric, which is universally hated by anyone who uses it.
I thought you were talking about the metric system, man. Not some fucking evil government fucking weed fucking.
Yeah, let me pull up here it is. This is the one I was trying to pull up. Growers file class action lawsuit against OMMA. So OMMA is the regulatory board for Oklahoma cannabis production, if you're not an Oklahoma person. But basically, you have quite a few people with $100,000 or more of product that can't sell it. Or in some cases, $30 million or more of product and can't sell it. even though it's completely compliant under state law, other than not having these bullshit ass tags that they want to have. So there's no reason for this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't need an RFID tag on your fucking cannabis. This is bullshit. There's just no need for any of this. They also, one of the other things, big complaint on Metric, they want you to report the weight of your fan leaves that you prune during veg.
Oh.
For what?
Fuck am I going to do with that? I will ferment it, make it into fertilizer and sell it. Oh no, you didn't get tax revenue for the $17 5-gallon batch of compost tea. Like, get fucked.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff's just bonkers.
All they're doing is just trying to add different things to get all the little people out. And when they get 90% of the little people out, because they finally say, fuck all this shit we have to go through, it ain't worth it, then, big business will run wild.
Yeah, man.
Yes and no. A lot of it goes back to one scumbag lawyer. And I'm going to bring this guy up because he's a complete piece of shit. And he's trying to operate in Mississippi now. And if you see this guy in Mississippi, just report him to the police. Like, straight up, this guy's he's like the Saul Goodman of cannabis lawyers, except at least Saul Goodman was good at what he did. This guy's name is Ron Durbin. He's a lawyer, used to be out of Oklahoma. I first met him when he was partially financing an illegal grow that I was visiting to someone invited me over to check out what they were doing. And this guy, he was telling clients that I was at that they didn't need to put up and comply with state regulations in regards to fencing, state regulations in regards to logging and reporting of your stuff that's going to immediately get your license taken away, or at the very least suspended, right? Like, you have to be high, drunk, or just horrible at your job. Like, he needs to lose his bar license in the worst fucking way. He also took money to throw out and basically sabotage the case against OMMA and the deployment of Metric. He took money for that. It's documented online all over fucking Reddit, right? With screenshots of some of the payments, right? The guy's a piece of shit. Not only that, it gets better. So he filed this class action lawsuit to suspend Metric the first time. And then why did it get thrown out? He didn't show up to court. He didn't even show up to do his fucking job. So don't give him your money. He's charging people psychotic money in Mississippi. If that's the case, immediately, cease payments and file a lawsuit against him, because the guy has no fucking idea what he's doing. He shouldn't have a bar license, and he should absolutely be sitting in a jail cell for the bullshit that he's done to this fucking community. And not only that, but just actual fucking crimes. I'm not talking about just, oh, boo-hoo, he fucking fucked us. He committed crimes by taking bribes to throw out fucking lawsuits. You can't do that. You can take a settlement or some other shit, but you can't fucking just take an off the table bribe. And that's what he did. So anyways, you got to watch out. There's a lot of fucking scumbag lawyers in this industry, but he's definitely the king. We call him Ron Goodman for a reason.
Any lower, he had scales on his belly.
Oh, yeah. I like that. What's your drink of the week this week there, Wes?
Wes, I don't drink of the week. I don't know. I've been drinking water and coffee. I don't know. Nothing major, honestly.
God damn it.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm so boring.
All right. I got one. I came prepared. Don't worry. Maldit. So when I used to drink beer, this is one of my favorites. This is by Unibrew. They're one of the most popular beers companies in Canada in terms of craft brewers. And this is really, really good. Plus, it has a demon leading a bunch of boat rowers rowing a boat in front of the moon on the bottom. Like, it's just everything about it's great. But it's a strong beer, really thick.
Party in a boat.
Red ale. It's good.
That looks good.
Oh, yeah. What about you, Captain 420? What's your drink of the week?
Well, I really haven't gone out this week too much. But hint, hint, if Pepsi of Thailand would like to sponsor me, I wouldn't mind that. So mine's basically been Pepsi and water this whole week. But you know, you're coming a month from now. With that time, the rains will be pretty much gone. So you'll be able to get around, not like me, stuck here at the house because I haven't fixed the flat tire and I'm not going to ride my bike in the rain.
So previously, have you guys ever heard of Mad Honey?
Is that the that's the stuff that they go get from those high fucking cliffs in the thing, and you trip on it?
Yeah, so it's rhododendron honey, right? So anywhere where there's rhododendron, of course, Southeast Asia or even parts of Eastern Europe have it. So we've previously talked about Olga of Kiev on the show with the Sparrow Fire. Well, not this show, but on other shows with the Sparrow of Fire and all that other stuff. One of the other things that she did was she actually made Mad Honey mead and then gave it as a gift to an enemy army and then killed them all. Which I didn't know. So this lady was fucking badass. For those of you that also don't know, she was sieging a city and they are trying to figure out how to get in. So she said, I'll stop the siege if you give us, what was it? Six sparrows, 2 doves and something else. And they took all of the birds, they tied a piece of string with pitch on it and set it on fire and released them. Well, they all flew right back into the keep to go back to their nests to get away from the fire and burn the entire thing to the ground. So this lady was a genius. But one of her other cool things that she did was create a whole big thing of bad honey mead and then give it to the Dervalian emissary and then poison them all and then slaughtered 5,000 soldiers who were super fucked up on the mad honey.
Yeah, I bet they're tripping. That was awesome.
Yeah, so
I mean, like, I have ways to go. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, like, it could be way worse.
Yeah, but just in terms of, I like to bring up a different historical event each week. We've kind of talked about Olga of Kiev before, but I was actually looking some stuff up on Mad Honey, and she came up, and I was like, "That's so crazy. Cool! Why have I never heard about the story before? That's super neato." So there's your fun historical fact of the week. Olga of Kiev made a hallucinogenic mead and then killed 5,000 soldiers back in one of her campaigns. So super freaking cool. Certainly a part of Mad Honey history that I had never heard of. I don't think many people had.
Like Black Widow, like just.
Yeah, like why is there no movies about this woman? Like like her and Boudica, like people are always asking for great, cool female role models. Boudica and her, like, why do we not have cool action figures and movies about these women? They were badass,
Kind of hard to not play her off as evil though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You could do that with a children's movie, but I'm just kidding. So what are like the superstitions there in Thailand? In Africa, we had tokoloshes, which are like the little goblins that will come fuck with you. What are the different mythical creatures or Bigfoots? Or I know they have like the rock apes there and some of the other things. Like what are the different cultural oddities there in terms of mythical creatures?
That, to tell you the truth, Potent, is a mystery still to me.
Okay.
I haven't got into that. I going back to the States for that 10.5 months and then the 6.5, almost 7 months fighting with workers' comp that I had to go back to has limited me on my learning Thai and understanding Thai. And unless you have somebody to translate for you, where I live, you're not speaking to anybody. So, I'm just starting to understand words again that because of 10.5 months, almost 11 months there this last time, you forget how to speak Thai if you don't have anybody speaking with you and you're just starting to learn.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's almost going back to square one again. So because of my own stupidity of not picking up Thai quickly, I don't hear those stories, or if I do hear them, I'm not understanding them.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
Well, down in
that's fine.
Antigua, Potent, we have
So you have duppies down there.
we have duppies, yeah, man, duppy a ghost.
So,
Yeah.
so explain duppies to people that don't know patois culture, especially the odd number component.
Well, a duppy is just a ghost, and yes, a duppy will usually show up on an odd number or odd number day. That's true. We don't really duppies in Antigua. We have our own thing. We have this one thing called sukana, and a sukana now is a little bit different. Now, sukana is like a vampire, but the thing is, a sukana takes off his skin when he goes and runs a boat, like at night. So you can always tell there's a sukana around, but when you find its skin on the ground. You have to take up the skin and you have to throw salt in there in the skin. So when he come back, he throw his skin on and he burn your ass.
But, interesting. In Jamaica, the duppies, kids would carry odd numbers of stones because apparently duppies can carry only count even numbers. So if there's an odd number, they'll just keep repeating. Like if they get to 3 or 5 or 7, they'll start back again at 1 because they're trying to get to an even number. That was like the way the children would defeat the duppies, which is kind of a funny, funny thing. In Zimbabwe and South Africa, in Zulu culture, they call they have these like little mischievous gremlins or goblins or kobolds, whatever you want to call them, that are called tokolosh. But they can like cast spells and fuck with people and kill people and stuff. But when I was in Zimbabwe, there was a story about like this plumber, like there was some kind of problem with the city. So I was near Kadoma, which is like a very remote mining city. And you can pay for gold in most of the stores. Like if you want to go to the bar, I can just put gold on the counter and they'll weigh it and they'll give you value for that in beer. It's pretty cool. It is a place that doesn't like anywhere else I've ever been, that's for sure. But there was a story of a guy that was like a plumber working on something for the city government there, and he went under the pipes you can walk through underground to figure out why there was a clog and clear it out. And there was a tokolosh in there. It chased him into a snake, and he got attacked by the snake and the tokoloshes in the tunnel and all. And there was a big newspaper thing about it for like a week.
Nice.
It's kind of funny. It's probably just a bunch of baboons and a rock python, but you know. Thought that was kind of funny.
Tokolosh, get him, man.
Yeah. We had a question here from chat. He says, what about Thai genetics? What's your experience been with Thai genetics there, Captain 420?
Well, my experience is kind of like I've been telling people, I've been on the search for that chocolate Thai and I can't find it. I'm talking to other Westerners here, and these are people that are my age or a little bit older. So we're, close to 50 to 60-year-olds. And we kind of remember the last little bit of Thai weed in the United States. And even they're coming up, and we've come to the conclusion that everything's just kind of been lost. Or if it is here, it's held in a very tight little area of Thailand. And everything else here in the north, I have one of the reasons I came here is right now I have a nice breeze. We think everything's been cross-pollinated. So if someone's telling you they have Thai land race, I think everybody should kind of correct that to Thai heirlooms, because I think that chocolate Thai, it's got to be here, and it's got to be in a small little section of the country, because I'm talking to people around Thailand, and it's like, no, I came across something that was kind of it, but we're getting the coffee terpene smells, but we're not getting that chocolate. So I think, basically we have heirlooms here, and I will be releasing seeds here soon from Thailand. I think Peter's going to help me with some of that too, but you can contact me on my IG page, and, we'll get you out these Thai heirlooms. Basically you're looking between 130 to 160 day plants. They're going to have anything from lemon to lime to floral to berry flavors and mango. So I think it's time for people to sit down, because I see it slipping here in Thailand, because I can't find anything that I remember or heard about.
As far as the chocolate terps, and you tell me if you found a different experience, but what I found, at least especially with all the Oreo lines, working with Mr. Green Jean's Garden, who I was hoping he could make it tonight, but he'll definitely be with us in the future, is that it smells like that burnt electrical fire terpene, like whatever that smelly plastic DMT, like burnt plastic bag fucking smell. That's the one that translates into that chocolate taste. Have you found a different experience with the Thai lines? Because all the stuff I've ever grown personally that's really tasted like chocolate on the tongue had that when it was growing, and the rosin before you combusted it really had that kind of electrical fire kind of smell, like that plasticky, burny kind of weird smell to it.
I can't tell you, because I haven't been around any like chocolate Thai growing. I've never grown chocolate Thai. I've only smoked what people have told me is chocolate Thai and things, hybrids that have been made off of it. But, I can't give that to you, because I've never grown the plant. So I've never experienced it growing and been able to give it a rub and squeeze the buds as they're growing. Basically what I'm looking for is that chocolate taste. I can't discern between the others in smell or taste after my accident. So, it's got to be that very chocolate. And I usually find it on the exhale. I don't find it on the inhale.
What about you, Wes? What have you found with the chocolatey terps?
Well, the chocolatey terps, funny that you asked about chocolatey terps, but the chocolatey terps is how I met my wife. I had a bunch. I had a bunch of. I got a bag of weed, and it was chocolate Thai and something crossed. It was called chocolate cheesecake, and I met her out playing pool, and I was like, and she's like, and I was like, she's like, oh, we're going outside to smoke, and I'm like, I don't smoke. Well, cigarettes anyways. And she's like, oh, well, you got some weed? I'm like, no, not here with me. And so I ended up, she's like, what kind of weed you got? She's like, weed probably ain't even any good. And I'm like, please. And she's like, well, I'll come. And she's like, I want to try your weed. She's like, does it really taste like cheesecake? I'm like, no, I don't get nothing like cheesecake, but it does smell like chocolate. And so then we started hanging out. We were pretty much inseparable from that point. And yeah, that's how I met my wife, was with weed.
Awesome.
That's great, man. Yeah, the again, all my chocolate experience growing it has all been with those Oreos lines. That came from Mr. Green Jeans, and again, all of them had that weird, strange smell. Someone else in chat said the burnt rubber smell. Burnt rubber is completely different. Burnt rubber is going to come out more like that packy, Afghani kind of thicker smoke. It's different than the chocolate completely. It's a totally different.
The what Potent's talking about is almost like a plasticky, like that DMT kind of, it smells like burnt plastic. It literally almost smells and tastes like it, and you wonder like what's in here, like what's wrong with this, like sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
it smells like DMT. It smells like someone like fucking lit a plastic bag or something on fire next to the plant, like the terps absorbed
with
it.
a bag with hair in it.
Yeah, it has a very distinctive smell to it that you're just not going to mistake for anything else, especially if you've smoked DMT before. Like,
yeah,
that's a weird fucking smell that you're just not going to come across normally in any kind of scenario. But apparently, that's the one way to find it is the chocolate terps. So, have you guys found any other weird terpene profiles where the smell was different than the taste in a pretty radical way?
I can't think smell different than taste. No, usually I find the smell is usually conducive to taste with me. I can't. I mean, the only thing I'd say like that is like that I like my fermented weed, the cob. Like sometimes when I smell that almost has a repulsive like smell to it, but then it's so good when you smoke it. So like,
somebody in chat says they have not done DMT extract, but they hear about it a lot. Yeah, if anyone, and I am not condoning or telling you to do any of this. Let me preface this. But if you're writing a book and your character so happens to want to get into chemical synthesis of recreational compounds, it is one of the first things that you should start off with.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
It's extremely easy. It's very hard to fuck up. If you fuck up, you can look at it and tell that you fucked up. It's not something you find out afterwards. And it's readily available from over 400 plant inputs. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, something within 30 miles, you concentrate enough of it to make it. So, in Oklahoma, there's mimosa trees everywhere. I think we have like 8 or 9 of them down on the corner. So, it really is something that is that. And if you're growing it at home, there's a great plant, fucking something aquatica. I'll have to look it up before the end of the episode. There's a really good aquatic plant you can grow like in your pond. That's also even better than mimosa. So
what?
Oh yeah, like an aquatic reed grass thing. They're small plants too. They're not even that big, but you can grow them just around the edge of your koi pond and do quite well for yourself if you are hip to the chemistry. So definitely something to check out. And then also, if you guys haven't checked it out already, Hamilton Morris has some incredible episodes of his podcast. He has a really good one recently as well. All of his stuff is super good, but he did a couple of great episodes recently on his podcast. For $5 a month, you can basically continue to watch Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia in an audio format. He has like 3 or 4 hour interviews with a lot of people that were on the original show and stuff like that. So if you really want to learn, the in-depth science side of some of the stuff they talk about in the 45-minute version that they have on Vice, it really complements it well. And I think if you haven't checked it out already and you're into all the fun science that we were just talking about, definitely one of the best. And then actually, since we're on this topic, let me grab my books here.
Yeah, man.
If you're also looking for other great resources, this is one of the other Bibles that you should have. It's called the Ethnopharmacological Search for Psychoactive Drugs. It was written by Dennis McKenna, and it's 2 volumes, and it's kind of 50 years of research on mind-altering plants, and it's really, really good. It explains the cultural history of many of the different things that we all love to enjoy, the traditional dosages and preparations, as well as the more modern versions. Includes a lot of synthesis and stuff. So if you're ever working with any of these types of compounds and you want to be sure that you're doing it in a safe manner, it's definitely a great reference book to keep on hand so that you don't accidentally make something that's going to harm you.
If you were a character in a movie,
whatever, for your character that's working on this in the book you're writing.
Exactly.
Definitely a good resources. And then, since we're on this topic, fuck it, we'll just go down the rabbit hole here. Anyone that isn't already familiar with this website, you should be, especially if you ever want to read P-Call and T-Call. They do have copies of both of those on here. Why is this taking forever to
So
load.
when you come to Thailand, I know this guy that doesn't have a sheet, but he's got a page of artwork for us.
Nice. I love artwork. But if you guys have never been on Arrowhead, if you are ever curious about taking a substance into one's person and you want to do it in the safest, most educated way possible, this is the website for you. It does contain any kind of compound, pharmaceutical or otherwise. It has user experiences, medical data, law, data is on our papers on the law, LD50s, which is how much will kill you. Anything that you ever possibly want to know about how to take something in a responsible, safe, or otherwise way, or in the book that you're writing. This is the solution and the place to source that writing material for your book.
Yes, this is where you'd learn about it, because obviously you would never do anything illegal.
No, of course not.
Exactly.
But many people have written about their experiences on there, and it's definitely a good way to make sure that you are being responsible and safe, and not doing something that might harm your character.
And explains to you how it works on your body and what it does to it and what the side effects are and what you can anticipate. And I have just everything right down the line on there.
There's thousands of papers and thousands of documents for every single thing on there. And it's all user funded, definitely a good group to donate to if you end up with $5 extra at the end of the year. They have saved many lives. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, man.
But they also have free. They have a whole library of free stuff. P-col and T-cols on there, phenethylamines I know and love, and tryptamines I know and love. So great things on there if you ever want to learn about chemistry synthesis and all that stuff from Alexander Shulgin. Definitely an interesting website for sure. And if you don't own those books, those are the other ones that I would purchase along with this one that I'm holding in my hands right here. If you have those, you're going to cover most of your bases for quite a while. I'll leave it at that. Maybe not some of the bleeding edge stuff in terms of newer chemistry, but it'll certainly get you through most of it. I do have a copy of those two as well, but those are in my bedroom and not in my office. So. But yeah, Arrowhead's an amazing website if you haven't checked it out previously. Certainly one that I've often used in my younger years, especially.
Yeah, man.
If someone hands you something,
Me as well.
If someone ever hands you something you've never heard of, you can look it up on your phone in the bathroom and make sure that you're not going to have a bad experience before you do something stupid. Allegedly.
This lasts 12 weeks. What?
Yeah.
4 days.
Some stuff, scopolamine and some of those other things, like, I don't understand why anyone takes any of that stuff in a recreational way. That's just crazy. Like, there's just no reason for any of that shit, man. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What's up there?
Soulshine.
Why is sorry, I had a computer issue all of a sudden. 1 second.
So I do have another subject that I do here in Thailand. Because of my upbringing, I've been able to learn about certain toys, certain silver marks from Europe from the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th century. And when I go into Bangkok, I usually make sure I try to get there in time for a market that's open on Friday morning. So I actually go to markets, and just like when I go into Cambodia, I always try to get there on Monday. So Tuesday morning, I can hit one of the markets outside of Phnom Penh. So I'm actually going and shipping back pieces of silver from Europe that are over here. And I find them quite often in these markets and the shops that I walk and see. So, that's my little extra pocket money that I make over here, is the knowledge that I learned from the parents and the antiques. And it works out nice because there's some things that have been sitting in storage for years that are just waiting for boxes to be shipped over, because there's certain things from the 1930s, 40s, and 50s in the United States that you can still buy at garage sales that, you get quite a bit of money here for. So, a couple of the questions you asked me, Potent, it was just like, wow. Sorry, I couldn't answer them, but
that's all good. The other thing that you see
here in Thailand too.
The other thing you see a lot in Thailand is Liphophria williamsii. That is a very common house cactus in Thailand, and they do not understand the chemistry of the cactus there in the way that we do in the West.
I can go down to my local market here and pick up San Pedro. So, if you wanted to go that way, we can go down to the market and buy a couple, 2-foot tall little plants. The mushrooms over here are wonderful too. And that would be something, if you wanted to get into mushrooms, you could basically do mushrooms here for like 6 months out of the year.
I've seen some insane pictures of some of the markets there where there's literally like 50 or 100,000 peyotes all laid out in a huge spread, all different colors, crested morphs and variegated morphs and everything that you can think of, and star cactus and a whole bunch of just very rare stuff that to see in the US, in a just, commercial scale. Definitely something that I want to get some photos of while I'm over there. Not necessarily trying to pick anything up, but certainly would be fun to go photograph some of those bigger places just for the sake of, ridiculousness. This is an example here. There's no place in the United States you're going to see anything public like that.
So when I first moved to Chiang Rai and I went to one of the local night markets, I tried growing mushrooms back in the 90s and just failed miserably. And I get over here and I'm walking down the market, and the hardest thing for me to do was get the mycelium to go good. So I'm walking down the market and here's these clear bags with this beautiful thick layer of mycelium in it and mushrooms coming out of its top for like 20 baht. So for 75 cents, I could buy a bag of something that I had just tremendous troubles trying to do myself. And I can grow mushrooms here in Thailand that way. But I can go and, pretty much get a starter kit. All you need is an inoculation tube at that point.
The other thing too, for people that were wanting to travel on the other hemisphere, a little closer to the States, a lot of people aren't aware of Jamaica legalized mushrooms when they legalized cannabis in the same bill. It just wasn't talked about publicly. I don't know why, but you can go into most of the Rastafarian cafes there or the vegetarian cafes and get mushroom tea or mushroom soup, or sometimes mushroom pancakes. Actually, they'll make or they'll do this, Wes. They'll do like a mushroom bammy, like fried tapioca. Maybe they don't call it bammy where you are, but the tapioca or cassava flour, like hash browns.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
They call that bammy in Jamaica. I don't know what they call it in Antigua.
I don't even know what they call that. Some kind of.
I'm sure they have cassava there though.
Yeah, we have cassava.
Yeah. Cassava is great if you're looking for a gluten-free kind of fiber. It's real good. And man, the deep fried stuff is good. Get that and some fried breadfruit. Oh yeah.
You eat breadfruit?
Oh yeah. There's no gluten in breadfruit.
Right.
So that's pretty funny. What else did I pull up here? Musician of the week. I try to make sure if we all want to recommend one. What do you guys recommend? I got a cool one. What about you, Wes? I'll let you go first.
Neon Steve.
Neon Steve.
Yeah, check out Neon Steve.
Okay, hold on. I'll pull it up here in a second. How do you spell that?
Neon
Okay.
Steve. Yeah, man.
Don't want to play his music. We'll get flagged. There we go. All right. There's Neon Steve. I was going to recommend Engineers Experiment. If you guys haven't checked them out yet, they have a really, really cool kind of world music where they have like a guy beatboxing while playing flute with a keyboard. They have like a tabla and keyboard and bass and world drums, and they do lots of like many different cultures band instruments all jammed together to make like a cool fusion jazz funk kind of thing. That's kind of rocky, I guess. Very unique. There's nobody else that sounds like them at all. But they have some pretty cool BBC One sessions. If you go check them out, definitely a cool thing to check out.
That's cool.
What about you, Captain 420?
I've been on a goose kick lately. I'm listening to a lot of goose shows.
Goose?
Goose. Kind of like jam band, but really relaxing music for me. Going to their shows, I definitely need a seat. It's not one that gets me up and actively moving all the time, but I really enjoy their music. And I would suggest anybody, if they want to see a really good show of Goose, the October 31st Halloween show that they did a Austin Powers little themed stage setup and everything. And they covered a lot of other people's tunes that you'll recognize, and they'll introduce you to their music. And if you enjoy, a good guitar, good sound, nice relaxing music that you can get into, give them a listen.
Wait, wrong button. There we go. The other band I've been listening to lately a little bit is Stick Figure. They have a really cool like rendition of Fire on the Mountain. It's kind of like their own take on it, and they're kind of like just a bunch of cool Dead songs where they've kind of changed them up, some of the lyrics and stuff, and they're kind of a little bit different and flavor to them. It's kind of neat. And some other cool stuff. I don't know, kind of very jam bandy as well. But I was at Terp Float last weekend. That was a blast. Anyone in Oklahoma, definitely check that event out. Shout out to Queen of the Sungrown and Shane 420 and Jordan River and Brendan Rust and all the other awesome people that were out there. It was a good time. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. But these guys are really cool. Again, more of that jam bandy kind of vibe. All right. Let me see here. It's funny, we were talking about chocolate. I was going to do the chocolate cake shots for the drink of the week. For anyone that doesn't know that one, you're looking at 50-50 orange vodka, hazelnut liqueur, so like what the hell, Frangelica and citrus vodka, like a citron, and is really good for that one. And again, a little bit of sugar and salt on the rim, and it's very good. But if you're definitely looking for something that you want to get as a drink for somebody, it's definitely good. You can also do lemon juice and regular old vodka, unflavored vodka if you don't have a citrus vodka on hand. And it will still make that same flavor. But it does taste like chocolate. It tastes like the bottom half of a chocolate cupcake. So definitely something cool too. Hey, it's got my old address on there. That's funny.
I did have a kind of good news. I sold my first pack of one-hitter quitter through a shop here in Chiang Rai.
Nice. Oh yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. You know, Tony had those seeds, and it was like, hey, they're going to be in Skunk Magazine. You know, they can look it up in Skunk Magazine. I don't have to do shit. So, you know, and they were quite surprised because seeds are quite expensive here in Thailand. And they're mainly wanting feminized and auto flowers, but they're paying 250 to 400, 500 baht a seed. So they're paying upwards of $15 a seed.
Well, not only that, but for Thailand, to import them in the country wants phytosanitary certificates. And there's, you know, you can count the number of people that can give you phytosanitary certificates for their THC seeds on your two hands. So yeah, I know because I've been working on this. So, you know, we had to get them for all of our seeds we had to import to Zimbabwe. And what we ended up doing was just paying a lab to do all the phytosanitary certificates for the strains that we wanted to bring for the project. And that was just financially easier than trying to go through a breeder that had it all done for us. So it is kind of a pain in the ass, and it's not cheap.
Yeah, I may need to find that one. Send that link to me, buddy.
I might know a guy. But yeah, definitely it gets into the woods. You know, when you get into the international stuff, it certainly gets into a increasingly more of a pain in the ass than even the higher state regulatory shit is.
I bet.
Canada, man, is like 3 times harder than anything in the States in terms of regulatory stuff. So, you know, you got to submit all your SOPs for the whole facility for your full vertical or wherever your component is in Canada before you get started. You don't have to do that in most of the US, you know.
Wow, that was a big kicker.
Sorry about that. Yeah, imagine if you had to submit all of your operating procedures for an entire facility before you could apply for a license. Helps weed out the people that don't know what they're doing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The license here in Thailand is 1,000 baht to open up a shop, 3,000 baht for your cultivation, and 20,000 baht for the, was it 20 or 23,000 baht for the exportation license. So $800, you can have all 3.
That's nothing.
Yeah. And there, you don't need to get all 3 of them. A lot of people here, you know, people opened up shops on $33 US, 1,000 baht. They got their cultivation license for 3,000 baht. Now, from what I understand, you do have to have both of them to actually have a shop. It's something about if you have the cultivation license, then you're allowed to purchase from other people.
Okay, makes sense.
Wow.
Okay. Got the tarantula hawks after you?
No, that was one of the big bumblebees that are actually here. I showed the big wasps earlier that are like 1.5 inches, 2 inches long. Well, the bumblebees here are like both my thumbs put together.
Yeah, usually the giant ones are carpenter bees or nectar bees or orchid bees. I know there's some massive orchid bees in Thailand.
Well, that could be it because there are a bunch of wild vegetation and flowers behind my house. And at one time I did have a bunch of flowers in my yard, but my landlady came over and told the guy to cut it, and he took the weed eater completely to the whole yard. And I thank God the one flower that I have that's a really cool looking flower and it's expensive flower is a bulb, because he just cut everything in the yard with a weed eater and cut everything down, my cactuses, everything.
Have you seen any pitcher plants there? I know there's quite a few neat pitcher plants in Thailand.
pitcher plants.
The ones that have the bulbs on them and catch the bugs?
No, I haven't seen any of those yet.
What about snakes? What have you seen there as far as snakes?
I've seen that green one. There was a brown little cobra in my front yard that I stepped on. And they've got another one. It's almost like, you know, we have the black snakes back home. This is kind of one of those rodent snakes. But I don't get too many up in my yard. My friends' yards, yeah. One friend, thank God he moved. I hate going to his house. Because I have a headlight on my bike, so I can see all the scorpions that I'm running over. Because out by his house at nighttime, the street just gets covered in scorpions.
Yeah, you have the those black forest scorpions that are often in the U.S. pet trade actually come from Vietnam. Those are real common. And the emperor scorpions too, I think, are from Southeast Asia, if memory serves me correctly. So, good thing is most of them aren't too bad of a sting compared to a bee.
No, exactly. That's the whole thing. But, you know, when you don't notice it and you go to get on your bike and you put your foot down, you hear some crunching underneath your sandal or flip flop and you don't think about it. And then you put your foot down and you get like 6 or 7 of them in their foot. Yeah, that smarts a little bit. But like you said, they're like a bee sting.
Yeah, the large clawed ones are never usually too bad for the most part. The little claw ones are the ones you got to worry about. Like we have striped bark scorpions out here and they got little claws and they have a really nasty sting.
Now, what you are going to have to watch out for are like the little like centipedes or millipedes. One of them bite you and one of them don't. But the one that does bite you, there are a couple of them that, you know, are where you're going to be at, which is further south. I don't know how far south you have to go to get them, but they're prevalent down there. You know, they can bite you and make you really sick. I had one bite me in my bedroom when I first moved here. That made me sick for about a week. But you're used to living with all these creatures. It ain't going to be nothing new.
Oh yeah, there's fewer spitting cobras in Thailand than there was in Zimbabwe, so that's a good thing. That's the one thing that's, you know, the ranged attacks is the one it's going to get you.
And, you know, I'm sure you're going to be living in a nicer house than I am, where you don't have a drop ceiling, so you don't have like the geckos coming down.
Well, I don't mind the geckos.
No bugs in my house.
I was just going to say the geckos keep all the creepy crawlies out. I'd rather have a gecko on my face than something with 6 legs.
Oh yeah, you bring a tree lizard into your house in Antigua, that becomes your little friend and your pet, man. He just eats the flies and mosquitoes in your room and stuff and just hangs out.
When I was in Puerto Rico, there was like a little candle dish that was burned down. I just filled it with water and then there's a gecko there. And I got a picture of him hanging out with me smoking a bowl. Like, you just got to leave a little water dish out for him and you don't have any bugs. And in the tropics, if you don't have them, you're going to get bugs right away because there's a lot more bugs. I'll be in Phetchabad. So it's like in the center of the country.
Nice.
It'll be fun.
West of Bangkok.
Yep. A little bit west and north. Oh, a little bit east and north, actually.
I'll have to come visit. I got some people I've been meaning to see down there.
Oh yeah, and I know 3 or 4 other people up towards Chiang Mai. I'll have to get up that way too and come for a visit, especially when Steve comes out there. I think we'll do a little bit of running around.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Can I tag along? No. But wouldn't mind meeting the people in Chiang Mai because, you know, like I said, it is a 4-hour ride for me. And, you know, I am looking to take on some facility work. I want to fill some facilities out here.
I definitely know a lot more people up that way in Chiang Mai than I do near where I'll be. Yeah, lots of cool stuff going on out there.
We just need to stay far and clear of Bubba Fats, Mr. Ryan Duran. I'll fill you in about that one. He thinks he's Mr. Cannabis, Tide Cannabis.
Yeah, there's always one. What about food? How do you like the food over there? Tell us about that.
Oh man, I've lost like 6 pounds already. Mainly because I don't eat red meat here. I don't like the way that the frozen beef comes in and tastes, and I don't like the Thai beef. It's got a different taste to it when you cook it. Now, if you cook it in a stew or something long and slow, it's not bad. But a lot of pork and chicken, rice, and noodle dishes.
So how's the fish there?
I really don't eat a lot of fish. I eat more shrimp. And that's another thing. If you like cocktail sauce, because the shrimp are cheap here, bring the horseradish sauce, because it's really expensive here and there's only a few stores in Thailand that actually carry it. But you know, mainly my dishes are pork and chicken. Nice. I live a very simple, very limited budget here, you know, but I eat what I think is much better than back in the States. It's something when you can go to the market and pick up bananas and you actually have a choice of what type of bananas do you want to buy, not just Chiquitas. That when I was back in the States, I had 2 bananas in 11 months because they tasted like shit. They're not ripe. They're still.
They're harvested way too early. Yeah. Same thing too. Yeah, right. For anyone that's never traveled, and I'm sure all of y'all will agree on this one. Mangoes. There's like dozens of types of mangoes, and they have incredibly different flavor profiles. And in most of them, never make it to the States.
Yep.
I love the stringies. I don't know what they call them in Antigua, but there's one that has like fiber in it, and it's almost like flossing. Like they kind of take and they have such good flavor profiles. But they are a pain in the ass in your teeth.
Uni mango where it's like a big one and it's like
just purple ones
and orange. Yeah. Big and no hairs in it. Like I don't like when you got all that sticking out of your teeth after. But some of them mangoes are sweet though. They are good. I like any type of mango. I'll take anything. Really, I'm not gonna complain. And Ginups are a weird one. They're like a big seed, and they're like covered with like a slime, and it's like a pink flesh, and it's like really goopy. And I don't really know what you compare it to. It tastes like Ginup, but they're really good, and they grow inside a little green shell, and you pop the shell off, and those right there, them, yeah.
Do they have sweet sop and nest berries in Antigua?
Yes, they do. I don't know about nest berries. It might have a different name. But sweet sop, sour sop, all that. Yeah, we have all that.
Yeah, nest berries are good. Yeah, here they are. So I don't know. You could tell me what these would be. This is what they look like. You don't eat the outside. It kind of has like a shitty, fibrous, hairy outside. But
no, I don't know what those ones
are. This is the tree they grow on. It's like they're like brown pear-shaped kind of things.
Can't say I've ever tried them. We might have them, but I've never had them.
There you go. Naceberry. Naceberry.
Potent, have you ever been in a country where the language of English doesn't translate?
Oh yeah, in Africa, a lot of stuff doesn't directly translate. It might translate into like a phrase or an idea or a concept more than a word. Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you come to Thailand, man, throw out half the words you use in English because they just don't translate.
Cool. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's one thing I did want to kick out there for you. It is quite different because you just can't put it in a Google Translator, because when you do and you hand it to them to look at it and read it in Thai, they're going to look at you like, what the fuck?
This is for those of you that don't know what sweet sop is. I would eat this every day for breakfast if I was given the option. It looks like a hand grenade, but they taste amazing.
I have a disdain for that fruit. Just was like, we had one right in the front yard, and like I always felt like I was always waiting for it to be ripe. It was never ripe. I was just always watching just fucking sweet saps.
Yeah, and they taste so good. So you bust them open and they have these like little, it's almost like corn kernels kind of when you eat them, and they have a seed in it. You spit the seeds out. Yeah. But they are so fucking tasty, and they're all over the Caribbean. Anona is native to the Caribbean, but they've been farmed by the Native Americans that are the Arawaks for a long time.
They're good.
There's a couple of species of it too. So then you also have soursop, which is this one, a little bit different. And then there's a jungle sop, which is like jumbo version of that one, which is a little rare, more in the highlands of Jamaica.
I love soursop. I can eat soursop all day.
And soursop's also good for, they make an anti-cancer drug from soursop leaves.
Probably.
You take the tea of it and all that, but they actually make a pharmaceutical drug from that plant.
I believe it.
Good stuff. What about, what's your favorite fruit there, Captain 420, as far as maybe more than bananas? What's some cool Thai stuff fruit-wise?
I like their oranges that we have here. They remind me of being a kid again, being, the mid 70s and biting into one of the smaller oranges and it just being so sweet and so sweet, not like a grapefruit, because all the oranges today mainly taste like grapefruits to me. Too acidy, too citrus. But, I eat, like I mentioned, bananas, and living here in Chiang Rai, we have the little pineapple. They're just so sweet. Man, I can destroy like 4 or 5 of those really quick. So I'm all about the fresh fruit and the fresh fruit juices here that we have. It's awesome. That's one of the reasons I think why I've lost so much weight, besides not eating the red meat, is, being able to completely go back to a different diet.
Have you ever had an ugly fruit? Or Jamaican tangelo?
A tangelo?
Yeah, they're huge. See, it's like they're big. They're really giant. They're good for hiking. They're filled with water, so you can bring like 2 or 3 of them, and you don't really need water bottles. It's kind of like water bottle plus vitamin C, and they are really, really good. But it was like a natural hybrid between a couple of citrus plants, and someone found a plant growing and it tasted good, so they cultivated it originally. But they are really, really good. But I heard they have them growing in Southeast Asia now. I was just kind of curious if you'd seen them.
No, I haven't seen those.
They're massive. They're like half the size of a soccer ball. They're big.
Yeah. So they're like 8 inches.
Yeah, I mean they're big. Let me find. I'm sure we can find one here. That's anyways. But yeah, they're cool. Definitely one of my favorite things in the springtime in the United States. They grow them in like Florida and Texas, I think, the southern areas, and California. So, what are some of the other good ones out there aside from those oranges? Those oranges sound wonderful.
the bananas, like I said, you're going to be able to walk into the local market. Well, where you're at, it's a little bit bigger of a city. You're going to be able to walk into the markets and have a choice between what type of bananas you're going to want to eat, what type of pineapples you're going to want to eat. Then all of the dragon fruit that's here, you know, like you said, there's a couple different types of mangoes. It's just nice that it's just fresh, and it's fresh for a majority of the year.
What about you, Wes? What's some good fruit from Antigua?
Oh, the pineapple in Antigua is by far, I think, the best in the world. It's the Antiguan Black. I like the fruit off the back of a cashew too. I don't mind that. What else? Just whatever's in season, man. Whatever's around, man. Whatever's kicking. There's always tons of plums and all kinds of stuff like that.
What about tropical pumpkins? Those were really popular in Jamaica.
Oh yeah.
Tell people about those.
Yeah. Well, they don't look anything like your pumpkins up here. They're not orange. They're big and the gourds down there. They're big orange, big and green. They'll have yellow stripes on them sometimes, but they're very much more flavorful and make really good soups and really good like pumpkin fritters and stuff out of them. Like so good. Like I don't even really like pumpkin hardly up here, but down there, like I can't get enough of it. It's almost like a completely different species. Like, but
oh yeah, I'll never forget. We went to go visit the Marcus Garvey house in Jamaica, and there was a vegetarian restaurant just in the parking lot from there. A guy named Steve owns it, which is funny. I remember that because he had my name, but he had the world's best, and I'm talking truly fucking orgasmic pumpkin soup, like this spiced pumpkin soup that was just incredible. You could just down liter after liter of the shit, like bowl after bowl after bowl. It was so fucking good.
I believe it.
But there's something about those Caribbean spices in that pumpkin that they grow down there. It's just so good.
Yeah.
What about over in Thailand? Do they do any squash type stuff at all, or is that a little bit different culture?
No, they do certain squash dishes. But I don't care for squash, so I haven't ventured into that. And I'm not a big curry person, so I haven't ventured into curries much. But you know,
I feel yeah, I'm not into curry either. I feel yeah.
What's wrong with you? Curry bang sweet.
The melons that they have here, except for the cantaloupe, they have a green melon that is nice and sweet, and you can get that where it'll ripen out and finish. I don't think the cantaloupe finish, or they don't grow them long enough, but the watermelon that are here are just fabulous. And I had some friends growing it actually in Michigan for the past couple years, and they say, you know, it puts on these nice little watermelons, like you said, and they're sweet. And man, that vine just keeps on putting out watermelons.
And the trick too with the watermelons, if you want to get them really high in production, you bury all the main vines and you just leave the leaves sticking up out of the ground. And then they'll know where all those leaf nodes are, they'll root. Then you have this incredibly huge root base across the whole plant. That's how the big competition pumpkins work too, but it works just as good for watermelons. I actually have some competition watermelon seeds came off of a 315-pound watermelon that I got my hands on.
Bring one of those to Thailand.
Right? You can feed a whole village with one of those. We were out at Turp Float over the weekend, and there was a guy there that had a dab rig made out of watermelon, where they had hollowed it out and then stuck a dab thing in the front and a mouthpiece on the back end. I thought that was great. I hadn't seen that ever before.
Solid. True genius.
Right?
True.
Definitely don't see watermelon dab rigs every day. That's for sure. But in Oklahoma, that's a normal Saturday.
That guy's a thinker. I like it.
Yeah, we had a big event here in Oklahoma called Turp Float, and basically there's two dispensaries owned by the same company along the Illinois River, and they basically you park at the bottom where the festival is and everything, and there's booths, and dispensaries have booths set up and everything, and it was quite a good time. They had really, really good bands there playing for a large part of it, and it was just an awesome festival. But basically, they had a big bus, and if you bought the ticket to get that, it was an extra, I think, $15 or whatever. They'll take you up as many times as you want at the top of the river, and then you just float down all high as shit. And they have lifeguards stationed all along the river, and then they have two boats that are just cruising back and forth to make sure if someone's not needs help, that they have help within a few minutes of being in distress. And then they had a boat parked at the bottom to make sure if someone somehow slipped past everybody, there was still somebody to make sure that they're okay. So it was really well planned, well thought out, and it was just a really good time. Float? 3 days: Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Or no, but how long from drop off to pick up?
Oh, it was like for a couple miles. It was nice.
Well,
yeah. I don't know the exact length of it, but
okay,
yeah, it was neat. I'd have to look it up, but it was a good time. It's the second one they had, and it was nice. We could just kind of hang out, bring all of our own stuff, share some stuff, talk to people. A lot of our friends sold a bunch of different. A friend was selling these like handbags that were mushrooms, like that were crocheted. And a bunch of other cool stuff. So there's just a lot of neat things that you could get there, and a lot of different cannabis companies showing off different products and stuff. Hung out with ATG Acres, and Brennan Rust was there, Queen of the Sungrown, just a bunch of cool people. Yeah.
I think you're going to see that here in Thailand when you get here, because you're getting here at the end of rainy season, which starts all the music festivals and all the art and craft festivals that they have outside. Cool. So I think you're going to see a lot more cannabis at these events. That's for sure.
Cool. Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing some of the culture over there as well, for sure.
It's taking in like full moon parties. Yeah.
It's going to be like walking in Amsterdam, man.
I've heard Bangkok is pretty wild right now as far as the cannabis scene. So definitely looking forward to checking it out.
In Bangkok.
What's that?
There's like 30 some dispensaries, stores that are selling cannabis only. That's 30 of them that I seen the other day. There's like 25 of them in Chiang Mai. Yep. We have like 8 or 9 of them here in town. Every day, one more gets listed to Google, because I keep on checking it, because I do go to the shops and I'm saving up to post those all at one time, basically.
Sure.
That's why I said I need help with doing some media.
Oh yeah, definitely can help you with that. Get you set up with your different things, and the different components on that. It's not too hard.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of problems with my laptop, and it is now like 9 years old. So I am going to go out and buy a laptop specifically for all that.
Yep, definitely a good idea. And then also getting a couple extra hard drives. I have all of the videos that are on our YouTube, on my YouTube channel, backed up onto 2 different drives. So one of them can fail and my YouTube could fail, and I'd still have a copy of all the videos. And I have them backed up to a Google Drive and another online drive. So there's no way that I can lose that. After we had a close call with the first conference, I made sure that everything was like quadruple, triple backed up to make sure that we never ran into that headache. I had a whole night where I spent because they were threatening to shut down the channel at one point, and I spent like 2 straight days just downloading videos, like in a state of panic. It was not good. So never going through that again.
No. And now you can get external hard drives, and it's like you can have almost everything on one drive now. The size that they're gotten them to, it's just like
I bought a 4 terabyte hard drive for $80.
$8.
No, 80. 80. Okay. But it's still not bad considering the storage space. That's why you can get a couple of them and just keep them plugged in. I download every episode when we're done, and they're double backed up automatically because it copies it from one drive to the other. So I don't have to worry about any of that shit anymore. And if you aren't, backing your stuff up, you do that because I don't know if anyone remembers, there was a really good YouTube channel called Growers Roundtable for a long time. And they got completely nuked when YouTube closed their stuff and they didn't back it up. And there's just no record of that anymore, which sucks because there was a lot of cool breeder talk and stuff on there. So definitely don't want to end up with a situation like that. If we did have some kind of issue, at least we can immediately re-upload everything and, at least have a version that everyone can view again. So. And anyone that doesn't know too, on my channel, I actually have a whole other YouTube channel just called Growing with Fishes Podcast. And there's a new episode every day on there of something that's on the other channel that premieres every day at 4:20. So if you just want a different way to watch, you can go over there and we'll have a new episode every day. So check it out. And it's just old stuff that we've posted on the other channel, but it's a backup archive of everything that just has a different premiere each day. So you can also do stuff like that too, where you have multiple channels and, you have a backup version of all that stuff too. And you don't have to pay for any of that. It's a lot cheaper than paying for the storage space and all the rest of that shit. But you can only limit it to 100 videos per day when you upload that. I did find that out the other day on YouTube. I've never tried to upload more than 100 videos in 24 hours, but apparently that's the limit.
Damn. Reach the limit. Solid.
So, yeah, and
I may get 2 or 3 up a month here soon.
Be sure to check out as well. I'll plug this again. We're going to be doing a talk at some point here in the next few days on FCP as well, on Mycelia at the festival. Come check it out. The Mushroom and Permaculture Festival up in Wilkinson, Washington. I'll be there. Chris Trump, Matt Powers, Cass Posey, just a ton of cool people up there. We'll be there talking on a whole wide range of different stuff: homesteading, meat processing, mushroom hunting. I'm going to be leading one of the mushroom hunting forays. I know there's a couple of other people leading different mushroom hunting forays. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely going to be a good time. Check that out. And come hang out. There's going to be lots of good food. Chris Trump's going to do a Hawaiian style pig roast. It's going to be neat. We're going to have a really good time. All of us are kind of bringing some extra cool stuff to make sure we all have a wonderful experience there. And it's going to be a good experience and certainly a very unique festival compared to a lot of the other ones that are out there that are educational oriented. It's about an hour south of Seattle, so check it out.
Now in the Midwest, coming up at the end of the month, if you're around Clio and you're a medical patient, I say this, if you're a medical card holder, because they have a medical tent that you definitely want to get into, but you can only get into it if you are a medical card holder. Now, if you can be a card holder from Illinois or Ohio, it doesn't matter. You can go up to Clio, Michigan at Clio Cultivation. They're having their yearly birthday and anniversary party for my friend Buddy. If you're looking for any equipment or anything like that, he tried to have a big company squeeze them out. So he reversed his business plan. So if you're looking for wholesale prices, they're right on the shelf. You don't have to ask for a discount. So if you're up in Clio at the end of the month, go check Buddy out. He's got music for, I believe it's Friday and Saturday night. There'll be a awards show, and I know he does tons of giveaways also. So if you're not, and you're just a medical patient and you want to go hang out and listen to music, he's got vendors outside of the medical tent, and there's music for 3 days almost.
What was the name of that? I'll pull it up here.
It's by Clio Cultivation. I think he just calls it the Clio Cup, I believe is what he calls it now. But he goes out and he spends money out of his own pocket for all of this. In the beginning, that's how he started it. People could set up for free. The music was there for Friday and Saturday, all day and all night. It's just a really good time. I know he passes out T-shirts and hats to like the first 1,000 people.
There you go. I found it.
One year it was actually.
Oh, this was last year's, but this is the right event. Hold on.
Well, if it's last year's, then I may be pictured.
Let me find it. There it is. This is the right one.
Oh, Deadhead.
Do they have a website on here? No.
It's always a good time. My friend's got the Sativa Award locked down though. He's won it like the past 5 or 6 years in a row.
There you go. There's your the right one. Took me a minute. It's August 26th and 27th this year. It's the Michigan Clio Cultivators Cup, the 7th annual one. So check that out. Trying to see if there's a website on here. I guess just look up that one. It doesn't have a URL.
He should have a website.
Yeah, I was looking for that on the. Here's the Facebook page. I couldn't find the website. I don't know. Maybe it's on here.
But it's a great time. He holds it out at his place. There is limited parking. He also did put up some solar panels outside of his business to help him combat the electrical use. So it kind of took out some of the parking for this year. I will say that. So just to let people out there know that if you went last year, your parking next to the building is kind of gone.
Cool. Well, definitely something cool for the people that'll be up that way. The other one I'll mention here, because I might end up at this one if I'm in town this weekend, although that's an if, is September 9th and 10th up in Oklahoma. This is in Spavinaw. It's not super far from where I am. It's $45 for the weekend pass. It's called the Harvest Fest. This has been one of the other big cups aside from Cowboy Cup in Oklahoma. That is one of the bigger, more fun ones. It's also more of a camping style, music fest kind of thing than a Cowboy Cup is, which is a little more like Emerald Cup kind of style. So definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun and very oaky, I guess, for lack of a better word. But it's fun. You can go fishing there. There's hiking trails and ATV trails, and it's a little bit different than some of the other stuff there. It's a little more outdoorsy. So it's cool. Definitely check it out if you're thinking about it. It's the Copperhead campgrounds there.
Sounds like some fun times.
Sounds like a good
time, man. Oklahoma really is kind of, in my opinion, the best scene as far as if you want to go out and have, I can't, there was very free use of cannabis and fungi at almost all the festivals I've been to in Oklahoma this year. And there's been no real issues with anyone really being harassed or all that much. So it's very, very nice out here and, very lax on that stuff as long as people aren't being stupid. They seem to just kind of respect people's rights a little in a way that, you don't really see in some of the other places. So
Michigan is that way. You show up at a festival and you don't see, like in California, you show up and there's like 24 cops at the front gate. You show up at Michigan, they got like a couple security people, and that's, it.
They'll have the sheriff. They'll have the cops and the sheriff there, but they're just, unless you're being violent, then they have a problem with you. But if you're just being chill, they don't care. They were not bugging anybody that didn't need to be bugged, basically.
Just do everything responsibly. That's all. And if you're not a dick, you're not going to have a problem.
The other cool thing that was cool about Turp Float was there's a huge meteor shower that weekend, last weekend, and that was really neat because there was
next
just
3 days it's peaking here, or next 2 days. Yesterday,
yep.
And next 2 days there's peak showers as well.
Yeah, but if you're in a darker area, you'll see a few a minute. Like we counted over a dozen the 1 minute there, but I saw a couple of big ones, and just a large volume of them for the amount of time we spent looking up at the sky. I felt like I saw at least 100 or more. It was pretty cool.
That's what I liked living in the Midwest, was that beginning part of August, we would get meteor showers. And just sitting out, I love meteor showers.
Oh yeah.
I had a mystical night with a meteor shower one time, and it took me like an hour and 45 minutes to change from shorts into pants in my tent because I kept on looking up at the sky.
There's a great app for people that don't know called Google Sky. And you can take your phone, aim it at the sky, and it'll tell you what's going on. But it also has like asteroid calendars and a whole bunch of other cool stuff on there. So, or meteorite calendars, rather. That's probably the better way to put it. Definitely something neat down that. What else did I have on the show stuff? I thought this was funny since we're on this topic anyway. Did you guys see the physicist James Webb photo chorizo situation? That was pretty great. Physicist uses picture of chorizo sausages, claims it's from James Webb's telescope. So he posted it as a joke, and it was just a response, like a joke to another physicist. And because it's just like it got tagged as James Webb photo, it like immediately got fed into the algorithms because it was a new photo and everyone's trying to like mine all the new photos. So immediately got pushed to like the rest of the internet as like the latest photo from James Webb by the search algorithms. So
that's awesome.
It's pretty good.
That's the best. That's sweet. That's fucking sweet.
And then he had to apologize.
We got to what people were drinking tonight. What is everybody smoking tonight? We got anything special out there?
Yeah, I got some really nice live resin from Queen of the Sun Grown. It's quite nice. There you go.
How about you, Wes?
I am smoking some Grandpa's Stash by Ethos Genetics. Pretty solid.
Yeah, I contacted them about possibly carrying their seeds for them here. They're actually a very big seller here in Thailand, I think mainly because of all the feminizing that they do. That and they got nice strains.
So for the weird article of the week, I thought this one was definitely a contender. Kenyan presidential candidate restores country's debts with weed and hyena testicles.
Oh man, makes perfect sense, right? I mean, like, yeah.
So this guy's running on like the Kenyan ganja party, basically.
Yeah, man.
Ganja balls.
Yeah. So I just you don't see an African leader running on. His name is George Waja Jakawa. I'm hopefully pronouncing that correctly. Anyways. Definitely a unique individual running for office over there. Kind of like NJ Weedman of Kenya.
Well, you think about it, like things have to get better. If you take out a lot of hyena balls, right? Like there'll be less hyenas, and then more like the area you
if you can catch the hyena to cut the nuts off, that took some skill because they can, cut your arm off in a single bite. They want to basically legalize cannabis production in Kenya and export it as a means to help, stabilize the country's economy, which isn't a bad idea. They have a lot of good land for it. So, be interesting. We'll have the Savo lions of the weed grow,
Well, I think you're going to see that now that laws are relaxed. I think you're going to see most of the equatorial countries exporting cannabis because it's something that you can basically grow year round. But again, it's going to come down to the point of fact of, when is enough cannabis, really?
I think it'll end up, I do hope that the appellation thing takes off and that you can have kind of designated things for different areas of the planet, and have a trade based on that, because people want Cali weed and the rest of the planet, but people want Jamaican weed in the US
They
and
want
everywhere else.
Thai weed.
People want Thai weed, so it's one of these things where once we get to that maturity level in the economy and the economics of this, that I do hope that comes back, because there's no reason why it shouldn't replicate wine. There really isn't.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Agreed.
And
Why
like
would you?
The better wines will rise to the top. But we do need to carve out the craft niche, because we will have a little bit of the market, but we're not going to have the majority part. That's for sure.
Well, the question is, where do you do the cutoff for the craft? Is it a certain amount of pounds of production a year? Is it square footage? Like, how do you? That's the big question.
I think under a certain size, and
I think square footage.
Door.
I've often heard the 1 acre farm. Nothing. Something smaller than that. Do you think that's too big, or? I think that's a pretty good, manageable size for a craft grow and still be profitable.
I think maybe a 2 to 3 acre, something that is manageable by yourself and your wife, maybe, or another partner, but something that's manageable by 2 people.
Sure. Yeah, no, 4 acres is, I think, is another good option.
I like 4 acres more. I'm more for.
Wes works more with land, so he would probably be best. But, I think, between 2 and 3 acres, something that's manageable by 1 or 2 people, that would be considered craft.
Mind you, though, 4 acres is a lot of processing area, especially when everything's coming down. Like you can stagger your crops there a bit with stuff that lasts different amount of times, but like you're still gonna end up with a whole lot of weed at one part of the year to process and dry and fucking cure and fucking all that.
You're looking at 11 to 12,000 plants on a plot that size, depending on planting density. Maybe as low as 10.
And that's the big problem here, is the drying and curing process. And once they figure that out, you're going to see much better quality flower. And once they come to the realization that, hey, we don't have to compress it so much to the point where you're busting beans.
Yeah, what is with that in Thailand? I've seen a lot of like brick pictures. What is with that?
Well, everybody is used to compressing it, and it hasn't switched over yet. We haven't had a full harvest where it's been legal. So everything that they know is to process it into a small unit. Until this year, everything I was seeing was in brick form. Now I'm seeing what I'm being told is being packed in bamboo. So it's coming out like a log or a stick. Actually, let me go get one.
Saying, we've talked about this before on the show. In northern Zimbabwe and in Malawi, they'll put them in the dirt. They'll pack them in the corn husks. Well, they take snap the corn husk off, leave the leaves on the base stalk, put all the weed in there, and then wrap it real tight once it's dried out to a certain point.
About
and
80
then they tie it off, and then they bury it, and it ages it in that low oxygen environment underground. It's kept in like 50 degrees, so it's like perfect. Do they do what's some of the unique stuff in Antigua? They do gum, or they do hash, or
no, they don't do any hash. It's all flour, just all flour. Yeah, no, nothing special like that. No.
In Jamaica, they call charas gum, and then they call keef. They call it pollen.
That's weird. Calling it pollen's weird.
Yeah, it gets real confusing when you don't know. Like if you aren't aware of that. Like when I first got there, I was like, "Huh." He's like, "You want pollen?" And I was like, I'm a bit confused, but show me what you're, there was clearly some kind of mistranslation going on. So he showed it to me. I was like, "Oh, Keef." He goes, "Yeah, the pollen," and I'm like, "That's not pollen, but okay, sure, yeah, I'll take some." So,
Nice.
Here's a stick.
there you go.
It's got
Proper Thai stick, modern Thai stick.
Yeah, this is the modern Thai stick.
There you go.
But I really think they put this in a bamboo and compressed it. This one has been, I've had it out drying, so it doesn't get any type of mold or anything like that in it, but it's really sticky and it gets me high in the morning. This is what I smoke in the morning because I don't have any of my own to smoke here, and I'm running out what friends have given me and sent me in the mail. So we smoked, Thai because we also want to go through these Thais and pull out the seeds that are in them if they're any good.
Especially if they're a funkier terp profile. But is there I know there's a bit of like a traditional smoke culture in some of the more remote parts of Thailand. What's the genetics like up there compared to, have you had a chance to get any of the more native stuff at all? Or?
Well, that is native. That's from southern part.
Okay.
Kind of opposite of where you're at, more towards Barim, which is more east of Bangkok by that 4-hour mark, 4.5-hour mark.
Okay.
It's actually sticky. And my friend, he sold me on it because he put on the macro lens and he tore off some, and I actually seen triclones on it. Mm-hmm. And it does smell kind of like the brick weed, but at least it's a little bit, it's got a little bit of a musky, almost a like I was mentioning earlier, a coffee terpene, a ground coffee. To me, it would be a wet ground coffee, though. But the high is nice and enjoyable for the morning.
Nice. That's definitely an interesting flavor if it's kind of coffee flavored. Them coffee terps.
A stick like that, you're looking at, about $40 for 100 grams.
That's not too bad. What's the hash like?
Apple fritter.
What's the dab scene like over there?
Illegal.
What?
Yes, concentrate with over 0.2% THC is illegal in Thailand.
So I have to make my own temple balls, is what you're telling me?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. God damn it. All right. Well, Frenchy Tech all the way. Definitely. Get some oven bags, bottle of wine, we'll be all right.
Yeah. I know a guy, he'll talk to you. He'll set you up on how you have to do everything.
Yeah, no worries. What about glassware? Is that pretty easy to come by?
Okay. Before the law changed, head shops got hit. If they had glass, they got hit regularly, or the cops were there regularly. Same way with vibrators, but now you see them out on the street in downtown Bangkok. There are a couple guys that do carry bangers here now.
Nice. That was my next question.
I was sitting here for 2 years with the only way to get a banger is like order it from the States. And it's like, nah. So I sat here with a dab rig for 2 years and couldn't dab because the only thing broken in the box was the banger.
When I was down in Jamaica, I brought one down there and I was doing a dab, and the guy who I was working for, his wife came in and she like thought I was smoking crack or some shit. So she freaked the fuck out and like kicked me out of the house and told me to like leave her home immediately and all sort of shit. So then I had to like plead with her, and then I had to, so she is I'll leave names out of this just to leave the people out, but they have a mutual, very religious Rastafarian friend. So I was like, here, call so-and-so and come over and he'll explain this to you because I know you'll listen to him and you trust him. Yes. Fine. You don't want to listen to me. That's cool. Ross will tell you and we'll be good. So he comes over like 2 hours later because they're never anywhere in any kind of hurry. And he shows up and then he's like, no, this is ganja. And he smoked one like just to prove it to her that it, like, because she knew that he wouldn't take anything but ganja because he's a, super religious Rastafari. So after that, then she was cool. But there was this whole like 4-hour ordeal over the dab rig and me bringing that in the house and her not understanding what it was. That caused quite a bit of drama for me one afternoon. That was quite hilarious. Like no big issue, but it was quite funny.
She beat you? She take up a belt and beat you? Because that's what
Well, she definitely hit me. Yeah. No, the Jamaican women are they don't put up with no shit from the dudes. They'll put foot to ass. African women too. They'll beat the shit out of their boyfriend. Some guy makes the mistake of hitting them, they'll swing back. And most of the women in Africa come from, well, a lot of them anyways, where we were in the more remote part, were farmers or growing up farming and stuff. So they're twice as strong as most of the dudes are. So, they'll whip the shit out of you if you get out of line. I know we hired 80% women on our farm because they were better workers and they knew the bugs and the plants, and I'd rather hire people who know what they're doing and have better work ethic out there. So,
and always show up.
Yeah, they show up every day and there's no hassle. So we love to support that because oftentimes all these other companies aren't hiring them, and fucking A, I don't care who it is, as long as they're the best worker for the job and we can help fix some of that imbalance and rock on.
Yeah, man.
The women are the better workers here.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a lot of the parts of the world that are farming, they're far more knowledgeable in terms of, and that's the big, what it comes down to is, if I want to know someone that knows the local bugs and molds and stuff, it's the generally the more knowledgeable older women in the community that you ask, in those parts of the world. Yeah, certainly was where I was in Africa in Zim. What was really funny is I was way out in this tiny little town in Zimbabwe, and the next town over was called Alabama, which was hilarious to me. Out by Kadoma, it was hilarious. I was like, go all this way, and there's an American named town. It was some old mining town from back when it was Rhodesian days. So it was kind of funny.
But they do know what dabs are here in Chiang Rai. I took my dab rig last week down to 2 shops and gave out dabs.
There you go. Nice.
So, but you can find glass bongs and bowls a lot easier than a couple years ago. But, bring extra bangers.
Definitely have to grab a couple on the way over.
Also, I wanted to mention this because it was the first time I ever flew through India. If you have any type of electrical smoking device, whether it be like a Dr. Dabber or a Puffco Pete or any type of electronic device that you smoke cannabis with, do not bring it, or e-cigarettes, do not bring it through India. Don't even put a lighter in one of your suitcases because they will ask you to pull that out. Mm-hmm. It caused a big,
I had a battery in my pack when I went through Doha, and they were real pissed off about that. But I didn't have anything for it. It was just the battery pack, and they're like, "Okay, well, we're going to confiscate this." And I was like, "That's fine. If that's what you need to do, then that's cool, man. You do what you got to do. Ain't no protesting here. I am not in a country where I want to pick a fight."
Like they were going after the pack of Bic lighters, the 5 Bic lighters that I had in my suitcase. And that's what they were after. And they pulled me out of the line for getting into my next flight. And it's like, "Hey, sir, customs needs to get into your bag." And it's like, "Oh, okay. Do you have any like smoking devices or anything like that. And here it came out to be lighters. But I was thinking the Dr. Dabber that I had.
I had one, you know how they have those nice titanium trimmers? I went to some show and they were in the like grab bag for the speakers that they give to all the speakers. And I didn't even look in the bag. Fucking bag of tchotchkes, another one. I'll look at it when I get home. Threw it in my thing, and then they searched my whole fucking bag to find those fucking curved blade pooners. But it was in a clamshell that was sealed. So the guy went and looked at it, and I'm like, dude, if you need to take those, man, like go ahead and take those for your garden, man. Like no problem. Because I didn't even know they were in there. I just got this as a tchotchke bag, and he takes it and he goes and shows it to the guy, and he sees it's in a clamshell, and he flexed it and couldn't get it open easy, and he goes, well, it's sealed. It's not like you can open it. I can't get the damn thing open, so they let me keep it, which was really fucking weird. But what was crazy was I actually had like a fucking 14-inch folding branch saw that was serrated that was like big enough to like cut the head off of a pig.
Way more dangerous.
That was tucked into a side pouch of mine on my camping bag that I had gone through like at least a dozen airports with, and somehow like at no point did anyone find it. And I was like, I was checking, because usually before I go on a trip, I would check my bag if I'm going camping or something, make sure I don't have weed in there or something else. And I pulled out my bag and there's this huge fucking folding saw, and I was like, oh shit, that's been in there for a minute. That's kind of funny. So I got you one better than that. Now that I think about it, I totally forgot about this. So when I came back from Iquitos, Peru, I was down there for a summer. I flew into Lima and then to Iquitos, and we stopped at Cusco and then went back to Iquitos. But it was cool. And so I took this big giant machete that used to belong to my grandfather when I was down there. And he had that in World War II, and then, when he was doing all of his other stuff. So I had my machete on me, keys, wallet, machete, cell phone. It's just what you did down there when you're in the jungle and stuff. So I wore that when I got on the plane, not thinking anything of it in Iquitos, because they don't have security in Iquitos. You just show them your ticket and get on the plane. So it's bumblefuck nowhere in the jungle. So we get into Lima. Well, we're already through security. No one checked me. Still have the machete on me. Go through, fly all the way to Dallas. Go through customs. Still no one checks me. Mind you, this thing's plainly on my side. Like I'm not hiding it. Like you can see the handle, the full thing right on my waist, like not completely visible. And this is after 9/11. This is like in 2004, 2005. I forget what. Yeah, one of those two. And
pulling a Mick Dundee.
So I'm going through from Dallas, and I'm walking from my flight from Lima to go to my flight to Philadelphia. After landing in Dallas, after clearing customs, and I get tackled by these two fucking security guys, and they're like, "How the fuck did you get a machete?" And I was like, I came off the plane. Like, what are you thinking? I forgot it was there. Like, if I'll totally check this, but like, I'm not trying to fuck with nobody. I'm just fucking tired, man. I've been traveling for like 14 hours. Like, anyways, it was quite entertaining. So I ended up putting it in my check bags, and then everything was all right. But that was a big, like, 2 hours in detention, and missed my original Philadelphia flight until I sorted that all out. I had a fucking really nice bottle of alcoholic molasses for your pancakes, and they took that from me and my bottle of ayahuasca. I was quite pissed off. Anyways,
I have this. Was in the store and found these little traveling neoprene like shampoo holders. And I thought, yeah, Fico.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird what the airports could all fuss about. I have dreadlocks, and they automatically block the density scanners for the put your arm up scanners. So I get the groping every time. There's no
Nice. Yeah.
Fiskars.
I've gotten the I got divorced and I was going on a lot of music festivals and stuff down in the States. So I got flagged for like traveling down and
Too many times.
Too many times. And they started pulling me into special detainment rooms, all kinds of stuff. It was every time it was escalating too. Like
Oh yeah.
it was all kinds of stuff. And I was like, man, I know not to carry nothing on me, man. You guys fucking find me in the line every time.
Right. I've never had any issues with the Canadian. They've always been really cool. Like even the one time when we had like a little bit of weed in a bag that they found, they were like, smoke all of this before you go through that side of the border. They get really mad. And because it was like 0.1 gram, it was like just enough to tell that it was weed, and they weren't, they're looking for weapons. They're looking for other shit. They're not looking for a joint,
Yeah, you try to bring a gun across the border. That's a big deal. You bring a joint, we probably will.
It's interesting. So I have a couple of registered guns in Pennsylvania that are in a safe at my parents' house, and they asked me about it when I crossed in Washington. He's like, "You have guns registered? Do you have them in the vehicle?" And I'm like, "The fuck do you know that?" Like,
we know everything. We know.
Apparently so. The Canadians know more about us than the fucking Americans do, apparently, when it comes to the guns. But that was surprising to me, especially as a pro Second Amendment and First Amendment person. That having a third party country tell me that was kind of very strange.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't realize we could see those records on your side.
Yeah, apparently you can. That was really bizarre. But definitely maybe a little more Big Brother than I think I'm comfortable with. I'll put it that way.
Well, Canada definitely see expunged felony when I went across. And I won't be going back to Canada anytime soon.
Well, I had a DWI from protesting, and I couldn't go to Canada for 5 years. So it happens. But,
my felony was like 10 years. And it was expunged. It was a cannabis felony.
That's no fun. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap up the show. It was fun. Hopefully we'll have a few extra people next time. It's definitely been a fun show. Covered all kinds of fun topics and a bunch of cool resources. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will get this up in an audio format. I've just been very busy this past week or so getting all these different ducks in a line with a couple of different projects right now. We have a project in Cali. A big 1 acre build out here, a couple other stuff I'll be doing the design work for, and some other stuff on the side, aside from all the other work I'll be doing here in the next few months. So lots of different things going on right now. So just been very busy, and but I will get this up in audio format as well, the same way that we have my other show. And we definitely have the setup as well to where if I can't make it on week, Wes can host it or whoever else. So we're not trying to make this about any one personality on the show. It's just about having a kind of a cool forum for us to hang out and have a good time, talk to you guys and chat, and show a different side of different topics. I kind of miss doing some of the research we used to do for the political show and stuff. So it's kind of a means to have some of that stuff
I did pull a couple memes there.
Sure.
I mean, you said no political ones, but I couldn't resist.
It's fine.
A Trudeau one. I mean,
okay, we can. Yeah, no, that's fine. Captain Blackface anytime.
I bring you the sun.
The first time the Pope ever touched pussy. How many guys you slept with? Only you. The rest I didn't let me sleep. And hugging my mom at a funeral and said, I'd never be your favorite. Anyways, those are what I pulled.
I remember the other one. For those of you that haven't checked it out already. Wait. There we go. Let me pause that. Okay. It'll load here in a second. But new episodes of Beavis and Butthead started coming out last week. And the first one is available for free on YouTube.
Nice.
You can find the other ones on your favorite access site or on Paramount Plus. But you can check it out over here. The first one's on for free, and it's good. So they do like some TV show bashing and then some YouTuber bashing, which is really funny.
Nice.
Like bashing on different YouTube trends, and I thought that was quite hilarious. So they also have a whole ode to anyone that doesn't know. They got kicked off the air because this kid said it burned his house down over the whole fire thing. So after that, when they brought the show back the second time, they weren't allowed to do the whole say fire because it was still on MTV. And now that's on Paramount Plus, they have a whole half an episode dedicated to just Beavis and fire. It's like a big fuck you. It's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Definitely a good one. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. It's good, and the movie is really funny too. The white privilege skit that they have is one of the funniest skits I've seen in a cartoon or a movie in quite a while. They go to this feminist studies class, stumble into this feminist studies class, and they're being rude. They're you have white privilege, and then they're oh my God, we have white privilege. And they burst into the cafeteria and just smash everyone that's not white, out of their way. And they're move, we have white privilege. And they take all the food off of the fucking table. It's fucking great. It's just completely ridiculous. But one of the funniest fucking scenes ever. And then they crash the car and they're telling the cops, they're you can't arrest us. We have white privilege. This is the funniest shit ever. Anyways, it's Mike Judge is definitely just as good as he used to be as a writer, and definitely not really. It's fucking great. Yeah, just watch it. It's good. The other one I've been watching a lot lately is What We Do in the Shadows. That's really good. I don't know if you've checked that out. It's
I can't say I have.
It's kind of Big Brother or Real World Road Rules, if it was with vampires and living in Staten Island. It's pretty funny. Lots of wacky characters and goofy storylines and stuff. It's good, and it's got a lot of really good actors in it. So, anyways, definitely worth watching as well. They have a new season going on right now. It's really fucking funny.
But I appreciate you having me on for another week.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
It's good seeing both of you, Wes and Poten. Shame we couldn't have Dutch and Chad tonight and Mr. Mean Greens.
We'll get them.
Maybe next week.
Yeah. I talked to quite a few people about coming on the show. There's quite a few people that are going to kind of come on randomly as their availability allows. So we might even think about moving the show up an hour maybe to see if that doesn't help facilitate some of that as well. We'll see. But right now we'll stick with this at least for the next week. And yeah.
And in 2 weeks, I'll be in Cambodia doing the show with you guys.
All right. Well, next week, I will be leaving the day after to go up to Washington for my Silly at the festival. I definitely want to plug that one last time. If you're in the Northwest, please come out and hang out. Come out and support a good cause. A fun weekend of camping. Lots of amazing permaculturists will be there. Anyone that you want to hang out and talk to for many hours, learn. Almost all of us are giving a 2-hour lesson or more. So it's a really neat kind of experience with kind of more long format education from all these just amazing people. So over the course of 3 days, and it's going to be a good time. And check out Matt Powers. He was on the show recently. Cass was on the show recently. Chris has been on the show numerous times on my other show, Growing with Fishes. We've done all kinds of different guests on the show. We had a couple of the other speakers on here as well on recently. Sorry, I'm blanking on names because I'm tired and it's really late in the day. But it's been a really good a good time helping with this, and we're looking forward to going and relaxing and laying in that lake there, staring at the stars on Saturday night for sure.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool, man.
How does everybody find you there, Captain 420?
You can find me on Instagram. It's Ohio's _ Captain CAPT _ Captain, or yeah. Dank. I'm sorry. I just totally blew it. My mind just went someplace else, but you can get a hold of me on there, or you can see me on Future Canvas Project on numerous shows there.
Cool. What about you, Wes?
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me here. And every now and then helping out over on your show there. Growing with Fishes.
All right. Well, you guys can find me, Ponics, on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, all the things. You can also check out, I'm adding more and more resources over at potentponics.com. We also have opennutrientproject.com, which is over on my website as well. We have a ton of resources for organic composting, ferment making, KNF inputs, all that fun stuff. Definitely a place that if you're looking for those resources and nutrient content, definitely check it out. And otherwise, we'll see you guys again next Wednesday. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good one.
Cheers.